As you can see, we are live and kicking. Tuned in with Jim Cummings, and today we have a very, very special guest. Thank me later. Zachary Levi.
Hey!
Zachary Levi.
Hey!
Boom, boom, quack. Boom, boom, quack. Boom, boom, quack. Yes. Thanks for coming, man.
I'm so happy to be here. I'm so glad we bumped into each other, and you were like, hey, I'm doing this podcast, and I was like, cool, let's go. We're all worked out.
Look at that. Life is good.
It is.
Producer Chris.
Good man.
Always right there.
Good man.
Yes.
Stepson for the stars. That's literally.
Exactly.
I mean,
You're not supposed to know.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So yeah, well, we met a few times at conventions,
We have.
and it's
Big
been
fan of your
gas.
work. Big fan of your work.
Oh no, stop it.
Yeah, no. A big, really big, huge, massive fan of your work.
Oh,
Oh,
well,
man.
thanks. And I'm a massive fan of your height because you're really
Yeah.
tall,
Massive.
dark, and handsome. If you've heard of tall, dark, and handsome,
I'm the poster child.
he's the poster child.
Thanks.
Oh man, it must be terrible up there.
It's horrible. Yeah, chicks hate it. It's I repulse them. I'm a chick magnet, but it's the other side of the magnet where they're like, wong,
no.
they just keep bouncing right off of me.
Yeah, we all believe that. Everyone buys that. There's not a soul out there.
Not a
going,
soul out there that, yeah.
Doesn't seem right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for being here.
Happy to be here, man. Absolutely.
Thank you. And now I think we're allowed to say this because we've been under constraints, this way, that way, etc., due to the strike. But by the time this airs,
Oh, we're all good. Yeah.
By the time this records.
I
by
mean,
the
yeah.
time this records,
yeah.
that's what he said. So
So we can talk about all of our work now. Isn't that fun?
Hallelujah.
Yes. Yeah. So since you've got about 1,800 more things in the fire than me, tell us what is next. Any given thing or like too many to mention? I don't know.
Oh, no. I mean, listen, man, I'm so blessed and I'm so grateful for the life and the career and everything that I've been given. And absolutely, I've got a lot of little irons in the fire and things like that. But as much as I wish that I could say, oh man, I've got more that I can handle and I'm beating them off with a stick. No. Well, listen, there's a few movies that I've already shot. They're in the can and they'll be coming out next year. Actually, I can say for the first time publicly or whatever, it's not even that big of a drum roll because it's already out right now. But Spy Kids Armageddon is on Netflix right now. I haven't been able to promote it at all.
Okay.
If anybody out there wants to go watch a really good family movie with all the feels like that, and it's fun and it's adventure, and go check it out. It's a lot of fun. Me and Gina Rodriguez get to be the new parents in the Spy Kids. Yeah, I get to be the new Antonio Banderas, which is about time.
Oh, you're kidding.
So that's really fun.
You finally made it to adulthood.
I know, right?
I mean, you're an 8-year-old playing an adult.
It's
so.
100%. Yeah. Well, no, Billy's more 16, 17 at this point.
Oh,
but,
okay.
But anyway, so that's on Netflix. Go watch that if you haven't already watched that. And then next year, I love your pillow, by the way. I love all the neon.
Thank you. I knit it this afternoon.
It looked like your work. It seems like your craftsmanship. So I've done a couple films that are in the can and waiting to come out. One's called The Unbreakable Boy. Did that with Lionsgate. I'm hoping it comes out next year. Beautiful little, very small, grounded family dramedy. True story about a young boy. A couple that meets each other, they get pregnant super quick. They're like, all right, well, let's try and, figure this out. They have their son. There's some weird complications. They don't realize until later that he has two interesting complications. One, he is autistic. And by the way, this was years ago. So it was before autism was really even like a thing that people were understanding quite as much as we do now, which is unfortunate how often it happens now. But also he has osteogenesis imperfecta, which is brittle bones disease. And so it's a true story. The father of this family wrote the book, The Unbreakable Boy. We made the movie of it. Actually, we made it, shot at the end of 2020, but it's just kind of been sitting in the can. Hopefully that comes out next year. Would love people to go and see that. I shot a movie called Not Without Hope, which is also a true story. Very tragic story. 4 friends, football players that went fishing off the coast of Florida in 2009, I think. So not even that long ago.
True story.
True story. True story. Their boat capsized. They got caught in a storm, and 3 of the 4 guys died. I played the gentleman who survived and lived to tell the tale. Wrote a book, and we made the movie of that. That should come out this next year, I believe. And Harold and the Purple Crayon, actually, which is based on the children's book of the same name. We shot that.
It sounds like I'm in I'm at Barnes and Noble and I'm in the kids section.
Yeah.
Really
It's
does.
actually it's interesting. It's a very, very famous children's book that some kids grew up with, some kids didn't. But I guarantee you, if you saw the cover of it, you'd be like, "Oh, I know exactly what that
that's
is."
cool.
But it's a little boy in little footy pajamas that has this magical purple crayon, and he can kind of create his own worlds, and he learns lessons along the way. But we shot that film in 22 last year, and that should be coming out next year as well. So those are all the future projects that we've got in the can. And then there's other things that I've been developing for a little while that I'm trying to get off the ground. And now that the strike is over, hopefully we can dive into all that.
God, that's wonderful.
Thanks, man. What about you? What's going on in your world?
I'm diddy bopping and lollygagging
Oh, I like both of those things.
simultaneously. Next week, I'm going to upgrade to shilly-shallying. And I mean that. You can hold me to that.
Okay, but hold on a second.
No,
you
but-
have so many voices and you play all of these characters. How busy do they keep you?
I'm doing fine.
Yeah.
In spite of everything, I've got 2 series that are percolating away, and I'm pretty sure I can say this one. I had a character that originated a long time ago. You were probably not born.
When?
But okay. Well, anyway, you were like 5. But
when was the character?
Darkwing Duck.
Darkwing Duck, let's get dangerous. Darkwing Duck.
I'm so happy
when
right
you're in
now.
trouble, just call DW. Darkwing Duck. Oh my God, are you kidding me? I was a huge Darkwing Duck fan.
Of course
that
you were.
entire lineup: Darkwing Duck, Tailspin,
Bonkers.
what was Bonkers?
Bonkers the Bobcat, the best Toon'd detective. And if I
Was that on the
okay,
Disney
that's
lineup?
it. It's over. Stop. Cut.
Chippendale's Rescue Rangers.
No. It was Disney Afternoon, and
Bonkers
he was the kind of this stepchild. Am I allowed to say that?
Yeah, redheaded
Yeah,
stepchild.
yeah.
We can talk about gingers that way, can't we? Gingers know that this is how everybody
Gingers
feels.
know that that's how.
I love gingers. I'm just saying, even though they are evil.
That's true.
Wait,
Covers their horns.
Bonkers. Hold on, I'm gonna have to Google this
that's
because
all
the voice sounded super familiar, but obviously you've done so many voices. So,
Yeah.
dude. So wait, so Darkwing is that, what's happening?
Darkwing Duck.
Are they bringing it back now?
Could be. Yeah, I'm just-
That's why he's like, can I talk about it?
See, he knows the language.
If you start getting into those notes, you know that something's going on.
Some fecal matter.
Some
is about to hit the
obfuscation
spinning-
is happening.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, all that.
That's like an old TV.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So listen, man. I mean, it's iconic. Darkwing Duck is an iconic character.
Oh, thanks. No, I agree. What are you gonna do?
Okay, so a little bit of that going on. Are you?
So it's good.
Is there any more Pooh work? Winnie the Pooh work?
Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah.
okay,
Because
good.
obviously we're all doing our
Because
Pooh work.
I was gonna say there's.
Got to get a good BM in every day, guys.
really
If
gotta-
you're not having a solid BM once a day, you need to talk to somebody.
That's right, but not me. God, that was funny. Anyway, no, it's we have to wait and see. The thing of it is, it's been my experience because I right out of the gate I landed the role of Winnie the Pooh. Thank you, Lord.
Yeah.
When I first got into the business, made a demo tape, and they said, "Would you like to audition for Winnie the Pooh?" I said, "Yes," and so I did, and I thought I got a Eeyore, and my agent, I've said this before, she called me back up. She goes, "Well, you didn't get a Eeyore," and I go, "Dad." She says, "But you're Winnie the Pooh and Tigger," and I go, "Eeyore."
Well, yeah, you got the two best characters.
Yeah, so I ended up. So I've been doing it that long. So
When was
it's
that?
been, 85.
85.
85.
And is that when they relaunched the cartoons and all that kind
Yeah,
of stuff?
yeah. The New Adventures
Yeah.
of Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah.
It's called The New Adventures. And then there was then there were movies and
Yeah.
Halloween Shrove Tuesday specials, and it was great.
So my childhood, guys.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The wonderful thing about Tigger.
Yeah. Okay, that's really funny. Don't do that again. We could get Zachary.
Yeah.
We don't
Yeah, they
need
might,
Jim.
actually.
We don't need Jim.
This Tigger's a wonderful thing. The tops are made out of rubber. The bottoms are made out of spring.
Okay, I hate
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Dude, I love it. I love it. That's so cool.
Yeah, somebody's got to do it, right?
Yeah.
Well, I've always said it's this kind of thing that used to get me kicked out of class.
Oh, yeah.
Did
Yeah.
you were you in that category? Were you?
Oh, 100%.
Like,
Oh,
yeah.
100%. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I should have been on Adderall since I was a fetus. Like,
okay.
my
Good.
ADHD and my mind and heart and soul and creative flow
Yeah.
and all of the things, I was always kind of like. Now, granted, I think that a big part of all of that was growing up in the circumstances I grew up in. I was a middle boy between two girls and no father figure around. I had growing up was going, family shopping trips to Mervin's. It was my mom and my sisters
Oh my
and my
God,
cousin Nikki
Mervin's.
and my aunts and
I
my grandma.
remember
And,
Mervin. You were from California.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Big Cali boy. Grew up in Ventura, California.
That's right.
Not too far from here and where y'all are at. But Mervin's. I know, right? And Marshalls and everything. But anyway,
Oh yeah. Oh my God.
but so I've been, I think a lot of that, or my kind of entertainer in me, spawned from like I need to find who I am and my identity and also be seen and
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. But it was always intrinsic in me, and I've always loved entertaining people, and particularly as a kid, you learn early funny voices are
Yeah.
entertaining. And so
Yeah.
I've been doing funny voices, silly voices always, and loving cartoons and loving all that stuff, and always trying to challenge myself. Like, how do I sound like that, or how do I sound like that? Doing dialects of like English. Like one of my favorite things is to go find English people. But it's difficult now. A lot of people know who I am or what I look like, but for those that don't, I can go to them and be like, "Hey, how you doing?" And then we just have a whole fucking conversation. Yeah. And then, later on, they're like, "Wait, are you taking the piss?" I'm like, "No, I'm not taking the piss at all." Well, what are you talking about? But all that all started when I was 4. That all started when I was just like, trying to sound like Daffy Duck or Bugs Bunny or Winnie the Pooh or whatever the
Oh
fuck.
my
you know what I
God.
mean? Yeah.
Well, I am ashamed to. I can't believe I'm going to tell this, but it's true. I occasionally, I used to live in New Orleans, and
I love New Orleans.
it was in the 70s,
Yeah.
and it was before anything, any disease that you could catch would make your head explode. It was well before that, and there was a certain time when I thought that would be more advantageous to be from England.
From Liverpool. That's Liverpool. That's
Liverpool.
not England. I mean, that's England,
that's
but it's not
England.
London. That's Liverpool.
Yeah, I know. I
Yeah.
always end up on George. George Lennon.
George Lennon was
it's
putting
like-
the two together down
Yeah,
there.
you put the two together. And why am I sound like I'm asking a question?
Yeah.
All right, I was that time,
Yeah.
but that was technical.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
It's so fun, man.
Oh God, yeah, I know. It was like a secret power. Girls are going,
Oh my God.
he's from England,
Do you know the Beatles?
like the Beatles.
But do you know the Beatles? And like, oh, I know them. Yeah, absolutely. They grew up down the road from me.
Yes. Okay, now I'm going to tell my Beatles story.
Tell it.
Okay, so I was in a band in New Orleans, pretty popular band.
Drummer.
Yes, a couple of those, but then I ended up a singer because I was always the singing.
Awesome.
And they didn't need a drummer, and I said, "Well, give me the microphone." It a ton of shit less to carry. Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
I can carry.
I can carry a
tambourine.
mic stand, or I can carry an
Yeah,
entire set of drums, and I'm good.
Give me this tambourine.
Yeah.
You know?
Were you Davy Jones from the Monkees?
Yeah. No, but it was, but no, I did that, and oh God, I blanked on where I was going.
You're
with
New
this.
Orleans. You're in a band.
Well, I was in New
You're
Orleans, I
talking
was in a band.
Liverpool. You were doing the
Your
whole
Beatles
English
story.
accent. Beatles
Oh
story.
yeah. Oh, and so we were making. Thank you. We were actually making a living in the band. It was called Fusion.
The band was called Fusion.
The band was called Fusion.
Okay.
It's
a cool name.
One S. It wasn't bad. And
One S?
So we were, because
Is there
What is
another?
fusion?
they started.
Fussian?
Yes. They started with Fusion, and I go, guys, we got to get rid of an S.
Yeah, because that's not fusion.
It's called Fusion, and they thought it was cool. Like, no, it's like the Monkeys. I go, we're not the fucking Monkeys.
Well, yeah, but also the Monkeys spelled it with 2 E's. That's
Yeah.
still pronounceable. That's
Yeah.
not changing
Yeah,
the literal pronunciation
and
of
it's
the,
not
of the
fussian.
word.
Let's have a discussion
Yeah.
about Fusion. Anyway, I got rid of the S.
Good man.
And we would hang around at Sound City, which was the Guitar Center of New Orleans, if you will.
The Guitar Center?
The Guitar Center,
Hi, man.
not guitar.
No, guitar.
Guitar.
Yeah.
See, that's how you can tell where
Yeah.
it was. And so we're hanging out, and we would go, and we would just hang out there on Saturday mornings
Yeah.
and stuff like that,
Yeah.
waiting for people to recognize us. You know, and we're all like,
Yeah. Maybe you've seen us. Maybe you know us from our show the other night.
yeah, we're gonna be playing. On
We're
the
Fussian.
Admiral
I mean,
tonight."
Fusion.
Yeah. And so we're hanging out, and the guy, Louis Chung, was the owner of that. And he's sitting there, and he's playing this black Fender bass guitar. And he... And I'm looking at it, and he was right-handed. And I said, you know, you're playing that upside down. He goes, oh, yeah, well, you know, Paul's left-handed. And I go, yeah. And there was a guy that worked there named Paul who played bass, and he had a Rickenbacker, and this was a Fender. It wasn't a Rickenbacker. And I said, Paul's right-handed. He goes, no, he's left-handed. I go, no, he's not. No, he's not. And he plays that stupid, terrible-sounding Rickenbacker. He was in the show band called Showboat.
Naturally.
He's begging for it.
Yeah.
Should be. Anyway, so and I said, so what are you doing with that? He goes, oh wait, he's recording over at Seaside Studios. And I said, no, he's not. He's right out there. He's like 30 feet away, and he's selling guitar strings to some Nimrod from Chalmette. And he goes, no, he's not. He's down at Seaside Studios, and he's recording an album. I said, he's not recording an album in this particular lifetime. And all the time I'm thinking he's talking about this,
This other Paul.
Paul Williams. And then he gets out, he goes, well, anyway, we're going to work on this guitar. And he pulls out this guitar case, and it's got Moisant in New Orleans International, London Heathrow Insurance, blah, blah, blah. And I, what the hell? What did he do, buy it from England? Is this a mail order? And he goes, excuse me. He says, no, this is Paul McCartney's guitar. I said, give me that guitar. And I grabbed it. I swear to God, the first thing I did, I picked it up like this, keys here, bass here, and I rubbed it. I rubbed the strings on my forehead.
Smelled it.
I rubbed the strings
Licked that a little bit.
on my forehead. Probably did that too.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah.
Anyway, and then I said, okay, you can have it back now. I was trying to steal it didn't work.
No.
Didn't work. I was
No.
still a bum. But I was a bum who got to rub Paul McCartney's strings on his
Listen,
forehead.
sometimes that's all you get.
Yeah,
Sometimes that's all you get.
and the story.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So
New Orleans is such a great town, man.
I agree.
Where are you from originally?
I was born in Youngstown, Ohio, obviously.
Oh, no kidding. A buddy of
Yeah.
mine, Vinny Fastline, he's a comic here in town. He's from Youngstown.
What's his name?
Vinny Fastline. Great dude, really funny
Oh,
guy.
wow.
I actually just did his podcast yesterday.
Damn.
Yeah. 2 guys from Youngstown, 2 podcasts
Who'd
in
have
a row.
thunk it?
Hey. But
You're on a roll, mister.
I know. Tell me
You're
about
going to
it.
be in Cleveland in no time.
No time. But New Orleans,
Yeah.
it's such a really unique and special
Ooh.
town. I've gotten to work there
only
a few
one.
times. No, there really is. Yeah, only
There's
one.
only one.
And the energy's weird but cool, but dark, but like all of the things.
Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful human beings. The accent in New Orleans has actually tripped me out because the first time I went there,
You thought they were from Brooklyn.
yes, exactly.
How you doing? Hey,
Yeah,
where y'all at?
yeah,
Where
New
you at?
Orleans. Yeah, you sound like you're from Brooklyn or whatever. Yeah, I mean, it's like it's a really weird, interesting amalgamation.
You'd never have seen it coming.
Nope.
Because if you're looking for Southern accents,
It's not that. Yeah, it's a very cool, unique spot, and people. My sister got married there. Yeah, we've had a lot of good memories in New Orleans.
yeah, me too. Well, I used to design and paint Mardi Gras floats
No kidding.
for Comus, Momus, and Proteus.
Who's? Oh, for those three.
Those are the parades.
Oh, got it.
Those are the crews. KREWES.
I've done. Gosh darn it! What were the
Bacchus.
Bacchus. I've done Bacchus a couple of times. I've
course
ridden
you
in
have.
Bacchus. It was so fun.
Yeah.
It was. I really had no idea what I was stepping into. I don't think anybody does because I had never even been to Mardi Gras before.
Right.
Like the first time I went to Mardi Gras, I was riding on a Bacchus float.
That's not a bad intro.
No, it's not bad. It's not bad.
That's a good intro.
But the people that I was riding with who had obviously done it a lot.
Yeah.
They're like, so here we're gonna load up all of because you stop all the floats, like you all get out and you all line up on this one road. I can't remember which one it is. They're kind of staging area.
Right.
Everyone's getting like their last drink. Carrollton. And you're loading your float with all of the beads.
Yes.
There are so many beads, you think there is not a chance in hell that we will be able to throw out all of these beads. Ooh. And then you realize, oh wow, no. Like you do have to stay on it, but as long as you kind of stay on it, like you almost are like, I don't know that I will have enough beads by the end.
Well, yeah, right.
But one of the coolest things about it is, to me anyway, like the way I kind of looked at it or felt about it, it was almost like a game. And the game was, how many people can you actually connect with and get those beads to? And because the route is it's a long route. You go all over the place.
Yeah.
But and so in some places, everyone just there and lined up, kind of, literally 5 feet away or 10 feet away.
Yeah.
But then there's the families that have the A-frame ladders,
and
they put the kids up on the top of the A-frame ladder in little bucket seats, and it's actually really cool because then you got the dad kind of like standing on the back of the ladder with his arms around the kids.
Yeah, and he's holding down the fort.
Yeah, and they're grabbing beads, and the kids are grabbing beads. And then you find these other, like, you go into a big corner, and now you've got like hundreds of people deep into this corner. And so the people in the back are actually hundreds of feet away. And so you're trying to like connect with the people short. You're like giving these little long ones. Exactly. And then I connect with somebody like way up on a balcony, and you make that eye contact. It's like, it's coming to you. It's coming to you.
Yeah,
and you'd bead those beads up. You'd ball those beads up and just Kurt Warner those things straight up to that. Oh, God damn it. It was so satisfying. It was so satisfying. But then also there'd be a lot that you wouldn't get to that person. Those are a bummer. But the ones that were the worst / also kind of funny, but really not, is when you would make eye contact with somebody, oftentimes children, you made the eye contact, you're like, okay, here it comes, and you throw the bead, and they take their eye off of you because now they're looking at somewhere else trying to get a bead.
Oh, no.
And those beads pop right off their head. That hurts, guys. I'm not going to lie. There's a lot of plastic, particularly when it's bundled up like that. When you're looking for some beads at Mardi Gras, pay attention. If someone's throwing you beads, pay attention. I don't want to be responsible for
if I've said it once, then it would be one time. That's amazing.
It's so fun, man. I recommend it to anybody who ever gets the opportunity to ride. It's so fun throwing beads to people in Mardi Gras.
It's got to be. That's John Goodman. I mean, that's what he does.
Does he really?
Oh, yeah. He's got a place called Johnny B. Goods.
Really?
John Goodman has a place in New Orleans called Johnny B. Goods?
Yeah, Johnny B. Goods.
Yeah.
Get it? See, because it's...
Yeah. No, we all got it. I think everybody in the room.
I'm just saying.
We were smelling what you were stepping in.
He was, I did this movie, Jungle Book 2 with him, and he played Baloo, and we started talking about New Orleans, and he's like all over it. He's the king of New Orleans these days.
I had no idea that John Goodman, and he lives out there?
Part
of the time?
Maybe.
Yeah.
On and off.
Who are you the voice of in Jungle Book 2? Shere Khan?
Well, no, I mean,
Or not sure. Who's the snake?
Ka. Yeah.
Ka. Were you the voice of Ka?
Oh yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
There
Ka.
you go.
And then
Such a great
apparently,
character.
but I was King Louis too for not the very first one. Well, I'm
Well, that was
the
Louis
king
Prima.
of the swingers. Whoa,
Yeah,
the
Jungle VIP. I hit
that's
the
the
top
one,
and had
that's
to
the-
stop, and
That's
that's what's
what's bothering me. Don't sing it that well. Too
bad. It's just natural. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how to sing it
What are you
bad.
gonna
Do you know what I mean,
What
Jim?
are you gonna do? Yeah, it's a curse. But no, that was one of the coolest things. And real quick aside, a very quick aside, Sam Butera was his sax player, and I hired him to play for a private event.
Oh, that's fun.
And I got up and sang a couple of songs with him as Louis Prima.
That's
because
fun.
I'm designated Louis for,
Yeah.
Disney has designated
Yeah.
people for that. And
Isn't it amazing
it's
that they got away with using basically the same animation back in the day? Jungle Book and Robin Hood were so many of the same characters. Little John and Baloo were by the way, not just the same animation. It was the same guy. It was the same voice that did both Little John and Baloo.
Phony King of England.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can think.
Hey Rob, hey Robin. Oh man, I love those
Yeah.
movies so much. But yeah, a lot of those same sketches, they just reused them. I think it was in the 70s, wasn't it?
I think.
I'm pretty sure that's when it was like.
Which one? Robin Hood or?
I think both. Oh no, maybe Jungle Book was in the 60s.
Jungle Book was 60s.
Yeah. But in the listen, I know that Disney went through some like really paltry years where like people were not, like the Dark Crystal or the Black
right.
Cauldron years.
Black Cauldron. That's right.
Like they were grasping at straws, trying to, and I think a lot of people were just not really watching a lot of animation at that point anyway, or whatever.
agree.
So then, of course,
plus
they're
it was
recycling.
crap.
What's that?
It was crap.
A lot of it. Yeah.
So but yeah, sorry. Oh wait, did Jim say that? No, I didn't say it.
No, Jim didn't say that.
I didn't say that. But some of the coolest things were, meeting Phil Harris, the original Baloo.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, how you doing there, little britches? And I thought it was the freaking coolest thing in the universe.
Yeah.
To meet that guy.
Yeah.
And they offered me the role, and I met him. He came on for Tailspin and did his character.
Yeah.
For 2 or 3 sessions, and then they just, decided he didn't sound quite right anymore.
No kidding.
He was in his mid-90s.
Mid-90s at that point. Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
And you
makes
know what
sense.
I mean?
Yeah.
It's
It's tough. It's like on one hand you're like, man, he is Baloo, and on the other hand you're like, but also he's real old and
yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
It sounds like Baloo's daddy.
Yeah.
So, and they offered me the part, and I was just so fond of the guy, I couldn't take it.
Yeah.
I said, no, I'm already Louis. And he was my favorite character in Jungle Book.
Oh yeah, Baloo's fantastic.
I'm the king of the swingers. Well, no, I mean King Louis was.
Oh,
for
King
me.
Louis was. Oh,
Louis
oh,
Prima.
Oh yeah.
And it's like I said, I hired his bandmate for a party I had once.
Yeah.
Sam Butera, the sax player.
Yeah.
Louis was trumpet player.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
anyway, good stuff, man.
Yeah.
Such a rich, deep cultural.
Oh yeah, Louis Prima is one of my faves, man. I love big band. I love that whole kind of era. I mean, honestly, it's more than an era because big band, jazz, swing. I mean, that you can take that like, depending on how you case it, but it's like late 20s all the way through the 70s. Really, I mean, Sinatra and those guys were still doing shows, and you were still doing a lot of Rat Packy stuff up into that point. Even though it was starting to become a little old hat, like people are like, we don't really want that. That's a long time.
Yeah.
And also, it was so interesting. Like music back in the day, there were less songs because so many people would sing the same songs.
Yeah.
So many people had a version of My Funny Valentine. So many people had a version of.
That's true.
Of.
You're so right.
Yeah.
About that.
And it's interesting that we as a society we're totally fine with that. Like, could you imagine if Justin Timberlake comes out with a song, and then a couple months later Justin Bieber does that exact same song. It's
kinda-
slightly
Yeah.
different.
They kind of do that.
Well, but they don't. But they don't. It's not the same song. It's not the same lyrics, and it's not the same. You know, like there are so many different versions of like oh God, what was that one?
Bewitched, bothered, and bewildered.
Sure. Wait.
Okay. I don't know.
Bewitched, bothered, and bewildered. That's not a song, is it? No.
Yeah.
It is.
It's a big song.
It is.
Frank Sinatra, Ella Fitzgerald. Ella Fitzgerald has the ultimate version of that song.
Oh, does she?
Bewitched, bothered, and bewildered am I. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, it's
grounded to a halt.
It's
Jim.
such great music, all of it, and
Yeah.
it's amazing that those folks all got to kind of kick around and sing different versions of that, and also like collaborate in the ways that they did. Louis Armstrong and Ella Fitzgerald and all of their incredible duets, and yeah, man, it's rich. I just sang my very first solo concert that I've been trying to do
Whoa.
for years, or not trying to do, but like wanting to do, and finally put the time into it. The strike was kind of part of that. I just had extra
Sure,
time
sure.
because of it, but and it was all big band. It was all those old
No way,
standards.
that's
and stuff.
wonderful.
Loved.
What'd you do? Where was it? Where can we find it?
It was in Salt Lake. It was at FanX. Wait, did I see you
Oh,
at FanX?
okay.
Were you there
Salt
at the
Lake.
convention?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the Thursday night. I was there Friday, Saturday as a guest, to be at my booth, and I knew that I'd be talking so much that my voice would be gone if So we started the week with me doing the concert, and gosh, we did some Bublé tunes,
nice.
Sway, and It Had Better Be Tonight. Spider-Man, he does a really fun Spider-Man theme. If you've never heard that,
What do you mean? Boo-da-boom, boo-da-boom,
yeah.
boo-ba-da-ba-da-boo-da-boom.
Yeah. But it's like a whole like big band swing version. It's really fucking cool.
That I could see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spider-Man, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Can he swing from a thread? Catches the overhead. Look out.
That's right, yeah.
There goes the Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's right.
In the chill of night, at the scene of a crime, like a streak of light, he arrives just in time. Spider-Man. Yeah, like it's super fun. It's
Wait,
groovy,
I wasn't
swingy.
done.
Well, I was. He wanted to play his drums. He needed to get his hi-hat in there. But yeah, it was really
That's
fun. We did a lot of
great,
fun
man.
stuff. Some Sinatra.
That was pretty
Fly Me to
hip,
the
by
Moon.
the way. Ladies and
Hey,
gentlemen,
hey,
round of applause.
hey.
That was
Yeah.
wicked.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I love singing. It's been
Yeah, me
it's
too.
been one of my loves for my whole life, and I've been so grateful that acting has been the bread and butter, and it's given me such a wonderful life, and I've gotten to sing a little bit throughout my career. I've done Broadway a couple of times, a couple of musicals.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I did a musical called First Date back in 2013. It was an original musical comedy, which very proud of. Unfortunately, we only ran 6 months, and there was never really a good recording
6
of it. So
months.
you either saw it or you didn't. Like there's
Wow.
but then a few years later, 2016,
Well, 6 month
15,
run on Broadway is not like anything to sneeze at.
Oh, no. Listen, I was going to be done with the show at 6 months anyway, but I think the show deserved to have a longer run. I was losing my mind. I'd always wanted, I came up doing theater, lots and lots of theater.
Oh, yeah.
School theater, community theater.
I
all
think
that
we
stuff.
all did.
Yeah. Well, hopefully. There's a lot of actors and whatnot that don't. They don't appreciate what really the foundation of all the things that we do. It all comes from there. All these microphones and cameras and everything, that all came a lot later. We were on
Yeah.
wood with prosceniums and an audience,
my
and
God.
we had to figure out how to convey stories and be characters interacting
yes.
with each other in present moments, real time moments with no safety net. And it's wonderful. I love it so
Oh
much.
God! I had an experience, opportunity to take my 2 younger daughters, maybe like 5-6 years ago, back to Youngstown, Ohio, where I was from.
Yeah.
And we went to the Youngstown Playhouse, and I'm telling you, and what's interesting is that this correlates Youngstown, Ohio, the Youngstown Playhouse, and oh God, I'm forgetting the place where Lion King debuted on Broadway. Anyway, they smell the same.
The theaters smell the same.
You
Yeah.
go backstage.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Go backstage.
Oh, yeah.
It smells. What's it smell like? Max Factor,
A little bit of mildew.
freshly cut wood,
Yeah, yeah.
and
All that.
and it's like, and I'm going, God, and paint.
Yeah.
Oh my God, they all smell alike.
Yeah, yeah.
And it
And
it
tears.
kind of
And broken dreams. No, it
okay,
really is.
well, yeah,
No,
that's
Theater Man.
a little less fragrant, but
It really does. I mean, there's something that's very true and unifying and magical about that entire world, and whether it's a school production or a community theater production or a regional production or a Broadway production, there is commonality in all of that. There are artists that are trying to make the best version of that for those people in that space in that time, and again, and there's no cuts, there's no assistance other than if somebody goes up and they're like, line, which I don't know that I've ever seen that. I don't think I've ever actually seen that in a show, although that would be pretty fun. But yeah, so getting to sing in my career has been great, but I don't get to do it enough. Broadway a couple of times, and I did this other show. 2016, I did a show called She Loves Me, which was a revival, a beautiful revival of the show She Loves Me, which is an incredible show if you ever get the chance to see it. It's also, people can watch it online or on TV. It's on Broadway. There's like a Broadway.com app, and then also PBS has it, and they did a really good job filming it. But then also, I mean, I guess bringing it full circle to Toon'd, one of the only other places in my career where I've gotten to actually sing was doing Tangled for Disney, and singing, At Last I See the Light with Mandy, and a little bit of other stuff. I was always a little bummed that Flynn never got his own song. I was always like, wait, why can't I also?
I'm right
can't
here.
I have a solo? But the song, the duet that we sang, got nominated for an Academy Award.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah, it was all pretty tremendous, which meant me and Mandy sang at the Academy Awards, which was the most nerve-wracking experience of my entire life.
Have to be.
No, it was insane, dude. It was not. It's not good for you. Bless you.
Oh my God.
Bless you for your cough. It was pretty terrifying. It was pretty terrifying, but we got through it, and I didn't.
Yes, you did.
And I didn't screw it up, so I was happy about that.
I cannot imagine, because there's a part of me that still goes back to that whenever I see that, and here they are, and they're walking on stage, and I'm going, good. I'm glad I'm not them, because that's just
It's a lot. It's a lot. I was on the carpet, like we had rehearsed and all that stuff, and I was on the red carpet that day, and I was actually feeling pretty good until I got to this one reporter who, I can't remember if it was E or whatever, and they're like, so, how are you feeling, your performance? And I'm like, yeah, we're, me and Mandy gonna sing the song. They go, are you nervous? I'm like, I think I'm doing pretty good. She's like, that's, wow, because, and by the way, and at this point, all I'm thinking is there's, I don't know, 1,000 or however many people are in the audience that day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not thinking at all about the television
about
audience.
the bagrillion.
And she goes, wow, I mean, it's got to be a little nerve-wracking, a billion people around the world watching this song. And I was like, wait, what?
Wait, that's
a billion people watching?
just what you needed. Just what you needed.
It's true. There are that many people in other countries that care enough to watch the Oscars, and they tune in and they're like, I wonder what these idiots are going to do. Yeah. I'm like, oh my gosh, please.
Oh man.
Yeah, it was nuts. But it was an incredible thing to be a part of.
You pulled it off. So.
No, thanks, man.
I have a question for you.
What?
So obviously we know you from, Chuck, freaking Shazam,
Sure. Yeah.
great career. But I'm really curious. I watched American Underdog, and I love that movie.
Thanks, man.
You did such a great job.
Thank you.
It really pulls at your heartstrings.
Thanks, good.
It's really emotional. I'm curious about the research that you had to do for that movie. Like, what was your familiarity with football?
Well, I was like 19 or something like that when it all happened in real time. And I remember watching it. I mean, I kind of grew up in a Christian home, and like Kurt was super a vocal about his faith and all that stuff. So already that was this kind of interesting, cool thing. But watching this literal nobody who came out of the Arena League all of a sudden take the NFL by storm, whooping everybody's ass. I mean, he had obviously he was surrounded by one of the most incredible offenses ever assembled.
Right.
But I remember watching it. I remember seeing it with my family. I remember him winning the Super Bowl and thinking, this is what dreams are made of. This is a plot of a movie. And then sure enough, it became one. And I ended up getting to play that role, which was, it was an honor. I mean, unfortunately, because it was the middle of the pandemic, I only got like two days of hanging out with him and Brenda before we started shooting the movie. Now, then they were able to join us on set and they were with us kind of through the stream of it, which in some ways is a little nerve-wracking because they're watching at Video Village. They're watching you either totally like emulate who they are or totally fuck it up. But they were super cool and kind, and they're wonderful human beings and friends of mine to this day. But we didn't get a lot, unfortunately, we didn't get a lot of like, together time before we started shooting. But yeah, I mean, it was like I knew all the things that I knew prior, and then the internet is full of information. And then try to, just asking Kurt and Brenda as many questions as I could at any given moment that could help paint little details into what the performance is. And, and also trying to tell their story while also, you have to always take a little creative license in it all, which is not to say that anything in that movie didn't happen. Actually, like everything in that movie pretty much factually happened, but in what order exactly, or what were the emotions at any given time, and just trying to, keep it as entertaining and move through all of it as efficiently and
Poetic
entertaining.
license.
Yeah, exactly. Sure. And they were super cool about it all. And I got like a month and a half quarterback crash course. Like
That's what I was curious about. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't nearly as much as I wanted, to be honest. Because I grew up throwing baseballs, not footballs, and that is a marked difference. In every way, shape, and form.
Boy, no kidding.
Yeah, and so I think I'm pretty proud of myself, like where I got to in a month and a half. Well, a month and a half, and then during continue to obviously work on it through the shoot. But like I was very proud of myself of where I got to. I was 40 throwing lots and lots and lots of footballs, and my arm was toast. Like I had to have PT on it, like mid-day shoot. Like we had all these like Theraguns and all these like stem, like electric stem.
Yeah.
Like I was like I'm dyeing my gray hair to be his younger self.
Oh man.
But it was so worth it. It was so cool. I had incredible people around me. My co-stars, but also like our great crew, my doubles. I had two doubles. I had one double, Will, who was like definitely like we're built the same, and but he was an ace of an arm, like just consistent dimes, and you need that because there's a lot of shots where it needs to be super precise and it needs to be very consistent over and over and over again. I could throw a really good ball, and I could even throw pretty consistently, but not so much where time is money, and you're like, yo, we got to get this shot like right now, right? So Will was awesome, so good, ace. I had another double named Deke, and Deke was 2 inches taller, 20 pounds heavier, and the one taking all the big hits. I took hits. I took some decent hits. But they can't hurt me. They're not allowed to. There's only one of me.
Yeah,
they would throw we needed to have a shot where Kurt's like running and like jumping and extending the ball over the goal line, and then it gets hit from the side and helicopters in midair. That's Deke taking a massive hit. He had a hematoma on his elbow at one point that was so big, and I was like, "Dude, you need to get that taken care of." He's like, fine, we're just gonna get hit again anyway. I'm like, okay, all right,
we're gonna get hit again anyway.
But Anna Paquin was so great as Brenda, and everybody. I mean, it was a really fantastic experience, and it was a really,
awesome.
it's a very small, grounded movie. I mean,
really good movie.
Yeah, but it was great.
Yeah.
It was great.
Wow, that's awesome.
Thanks.
What a great memory.
Yeah, well, they've all been. I mean, even if in the moment, sometimes working on something can be, even traumatic.
Little taxing,
yeah.
Taxing,
But all
traumatic.
of those things, I really feel like they've all been at this point in my life, they can all be redeemed. Like you can learn from all of that. You can grow through all of that. It's important to have empathy and grace with those people that might have made it a horrible experience, and you learn through that empathy. And ultimately, it's crazy how it works, but the way God works, the universe, whatever. But you put into these things, it might feel like a really wonky experience, and yet somehow out of the ashes, something really cool is created through all of that. And so,
Yeah.
you know, I don't know, but and not that, I mean, that had its own challenges, particularly that we were shooting in the pandemic and all that jazz. But overall, that was definitely an enjoyable experience. And I'm really grateful for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Well, speaking of your previous work, we also had Jack Grazer on the podcast.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, I love Jack so much.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
He's such a good kid.
Yeah.
He's so talented. Like, he's wickedly talented. He reminds me of me when I was young.
Yeah, yeah.
And,
and he busted out his guitar.
Yes.
Hell of a guitar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a really
Really
talented,
talented
musician.
kid,
Yeah. But he really is, man. Like, you know, and his mom, Angela, is a wonderful woman who I like with that kind of energy and talent, you know, it's hard as a parent. Like, you want them to flourish, but also you got to protect them. You got to guide them. You got to do all these things. And Jack is, I mean, literally, he's got more energy than an atom bomb. I mean, he's so full of life and energy and everything.
Yeah.
And all that talent. And so it's been really, I mean, to work with him, he was like 13 when we did the first one. And you don't meet a lot of 13-year-olds that have that kind of sense of humor, that understanding of comedy and being present and being in character. And it was so cool that we got to, you know, really have that two-hander. In the second movie, we barely got to work together because we were the A and B storylines, right?
Right.
But we still had a wonderful time. And I have so much love for him. And I genuinely, I think that he's just one of the most talented young actors on the scene.
Boy, you're not kidding.
I can't wait
really
to see.
is.
I can't wait to see what he does next.
He really
he
is.
really is.
Yeah.
Yeah, he disappears into the role. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that, that's just, you know, really just kind of choosing to fully commit, full send, as the kids say nowadays. He full sends into the character.
Yeah.
And just staying very present in that.
Yeah.
And his energy, because he's such an electric, just naturally person, it gives that life, that energy to that character, which I think kind of gives it an extra little edge of interest, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So true.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
That's
just
good stuff.
one more thing to bring up. I was a big fan of Chuck.
Thanks.
Big fan.
Yeah.
And I feel like it never really got like the publicity it deserved. Like it, I don't know. Can
I
you
don't
speak on
disagree.
that?
If I had a nickel for every project I did that I think didn't get the look that it deserved,
Yeah.
I'd have at least a couple of nickels. Maybe 10, 15, 25 cents. But Chuck is one of those nickels for
Yeah.
sure. I don't know, man. Like, you know, we were making network television in the death throes of network television.
What do you mean by that?
Well,
Well,
by the time we were making Chuck, TiVo was
now
conceived.
what was the year?
2007 was
Okay.
our first year.
Okay.
But we started to TiVo right before that. I'm pretty sure a DVR would kind of hit the scene right before that.
Yeah, right before. That's
And
about
and
right.
so what ended up happening? It's so funny that TiVo doesn't even exist anymore, but everything is
Yeah.
DVR.
Yeah, everything is TV.
But what ends up happening is then, which is obviously the obvious conclusion, which nobody wanted to really acknowledge, but once DVR hit the scene, well, guess what? Nobody's watching commercials anymore. Commercials are the thing that is the lifeblood of network television.
Right.
You're not cable. You're not paying for the subscription, or sorry, premium cable. And even in cable, they still got hit in the same way. All of it was still advertisement based. I mean, all of it. That's how it all worked. So once people could go bloop, 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 you know, like right through all of those commercials. That's the TiVo callback, by the way. That's the noise.
There you go.
For all of you Gen Zers out there.
Yeah.
Bloop, 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 bloop. By the way, you'd always do that, and then you would blow right by the point you were trying to get to. But oh, the
That's
son of a
right.
bitch, and
Yes.
you gotta go, black, black, and you gotta
So
go back.
true.
Anyway, but once that all happened, and the writing was on the wall, like nobody, network television, the ratings are going to continue to drop and drop and drop and drop. And so we were, the network television was the patient on the table on life support. We were in those death throes. We were one of the last kind of, I mean, which is not to say that network television still doesn't exist right now.
Right.
But barely, it's barely hanging on. It's
you're
not,
not
you know, it's
kidding.
not what it is. It's not what it ever
Well, it's
and
just transformed into streaming.
exactly.
Right?
Well, yes. Well, Yes and no. Streaming is a different type of
But
series.
it's the same people controlling it, no?
Um,
I mean, you have
Well-
Paramount Plus, you have Peacock, you have
right.
well,
Yes and no.
Netflix
I mean,
wasn't in the
Peacock
game.
and NBC are roughly the same people.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. But Paramount Plus
thought they
is,
were.
there's no network it's necessarily connected. Network television is specifically NBC, CBS, ABC, Fox.
yeah.
Right? That's CW. Well, UPN came on the scene, and then it was UPN Warner Brothers, and then that all kind of became CW.
Yeah.
And now even CW is basically cooked. A whole other
Yeah.
company bought CW,
Yeah.
and now they're getting rid of all of their scripted shows, and they're all going to do a bunch of garbage reality television because
no, I hate it.
it's cheap as fuck, and they don't have any money. They're not getting the same money anymore. People
Yeah.
aren't paying the ads. Pepsi and Toyota and everybody else are like, well, hang on a second. Why are we giving you $50,000 for a 60-second ad when no one's watching the channel? Right? So it doesn't make any sense. Chuck, unfortunately, suffered because of all that. Chuck was coming toward the end of it, and our ratings would continue to kind of go down. If we, by the way, the ratings we got then, if we had those same numbers now, we'd be a massive success. But of course, we wouldn't even
Right.
have those numbers now because
Yeah.
those numbers don't exist.
Yeah.
But at that time, we were getting numbers that networks were still like, no, we don't know. We're still looking for, whatever they had in the late 90s, early 2000s, which was the pinnacle of network television.
Right.
That was when
Yeah, that's
Friends and Seinfeld and
That's
all, it's
right.
like, you can't even imagine the amount. When there were only 3 networks on television, by the way, CBS, ABC, NBC, there were only 3 options really to watch television. That's why all of those
And whatever
Nielsen
PBS
ratings.
was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
PBS.
but
Yeah,
that was-
but Nielsen ratings. The reason why that even works, which by the way was literally just calling up certain homes and being like, "What were you watching tonight?"
Yeah.
The reason why that worked is because there was only 3 options anyway. So if you called out of 100 people, if 50% of them you called and said, I was watching Cheers, you know that half the fucking nation was watching Cheers, and they were. And that meant if Pepsi paid money to have a commercial on and there was no TiVo, everyone is watching Ted Danson and everybody yuck it
that's
up.
right.
And then they're watching a Pepsi commercial. That is exactly what they're doing.
That's right.
So it all worked. That all worked. And then it all started falling apart. And we were kind of, unfortunately, in the ends of all of that. And so every year, because of our ratings, NBC would basically go to Warner Brothers and say, hey, listen, we're not going to pay so much to license the show. We'll pay less. And then Warner Brothers would be like, okay, well, first what NBC would do is they'd have a whole new lineup of pilots that they would think maybe we're going to go get a show that we think is going to do better than Chuck. So every year we thought we were going to get canceled. Our head was on the chopping block. And then, of course, the pilots would come through. They'd look at them all and they go, maybe we'll just keep Chuck around one more season.
boy.
But then they would go back to Warner Brothers and they
Yeah.
say, we're going to license it for less. And then Warner Brothers, trying to keep it going, would be like, okay, well then I guess we'll make it for less. And then our budget would get cut every single year.
Oh,
they're
geez.
not investing a whole bunch more money into advertising a show like that.
Yeah.
It's really unfortunate. It's
Yeah.
really unfortunate that I don't think a lot of those people saw the charm and the value and the worth in what I believe to be. And by the way, and I know it to be because every single convention or whatever I go to,
Right.
or the messages I get on,
You get
on
validation.
social media, the amount of people that still find Chuck now, not even the
Yeah.
old viewers, people keep finding it on either it was Netflix for a while, then Amazon, now we're on HBO Max because we're a Warner Brothers show.
Yeah.
And the amount of new audience members that find it and they come and find me at conventions and they go, where was I? How did I miss this? I go, I don't know. Where were you?
yeah,
Maybe
where?
we'd still be on television. I mean, I hope not, actually. 2007 to now, that's a long, I would have lost my mind by this point. Still Chuck.
Oh, man.
But I do hope one day I get to make some Chuck movies. That's been
Yeah.
the goal. That's been the goal. Because the show was every episode was a little action movie.
It was a lot of fun.
the week. There's
Yeah.
no reason why we can't do an hour-and-a-half version of that
Right.
every
Right.
year or so and just do another mission and
Yeah.
have another cool 80s action star be the new bad guy or whatever. Oh
Chuck-
man, it'd be so
Chuck
much
and
fun.
A.
Chuck and A.
Hey.
And there was an episode of The Office that had a cardboard cutout
Of
of
me.
you.
Yes, when they were selling their triangular iPad or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember when they came to me and they asked me, they go, NBC's asking if they can use your image to put in an episode of The Office. I was like, say less. Like, what are you talking about? Put me in that show. Massive fan of all
Let
that.
me see.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
Well, that's cool. Thanks for sharing that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no
Absolutely.
kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That whole interlude there. That was
Yeah.
like,
You should watch the show. It's really good.
yeah.
It's really good.
Oh, yeah. Well, I knew that.
Yeah.
But, you know, all this behind the scenes,
Yeah.
you know.
Oh, there's always so much that's
we're
going on
always,
behind the scenes.
I know.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, stuff that you just can't put your finger on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
I have 2 more words for you.
Okay.
Gal Gadot.
Oh,
I mean,
well,
Gal, I think, is one of the most stunning women ever. Although that's not an uncommonly held belief.
yeah.
I
So
met
you're
her
the one
very
that
briefly
likes her.
one time. When the end of Shazam! Fury of the Gods, we
Right.
had to shoot her in Europe. She was shooting a whole other movie, and they shot me, and then we kind of spliced it
You
all
could
together.
kind of tell, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. But it was very cool of her to, because they approached her, said, "Would you be willing to, to do this and have Wonder Woman be a part of the end of the movie?" And obviously she said yes, and I was so honored by that, that she saw enough value in our franchise that she would want to do that. And
Yeah, it knocked me out.
yeah,
It was so cool.
yeah, it's fun.
I'm going, oh, damn.
Yeah,
You know, it's like that kind of thing.
yeah,
Or not Shazam, but oh,
yeah.
damn.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing would have happened.
Yeah, but it'd be really cool. I would love. I mean, if I get the opportunity to play Shazam anymore, which would be a lot of fun to do. But if so, it'd be really fun to have more crossover with Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Or
There's no talks of Justice Society. It was kind of teased
I
at
don't
the
know,
end
man. I don't know. That's all way above my pay grade. It's
Yeah.
it's a really interesting world, and for so many reasons. I mean, we literally just came out of a strike,
there.
multiple
Right.
strikes.
Like
Finally,
like an
all
hour
ending
ago.
after hundreds and hundreds of
Like,
days.
yeah,
and our
an
industry
hour
is
and 20
suffering right
Yeah.
now. So all the studios are as they should be and need to be.
Yeah.
They're now all looking at what they need to do to make sure that these contracts, not only we hold to them, we respect all of this, but we can all move forward in a new ecosystem of working together that can hopefully last well beyond 3 years.
Yeah.
But as we
Yeah,
were all
no
talking
kidding.
about, earlier before the pod, I worry about that. I think AI, I don't want to come across as alarmist or doomsday or anything, but I've been tracking this stuff for a long time. I love tech and future and all these things, and AI is not going away, and more than it's not going away, it is not going to stop, and it is going to get better and 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 better, and it won't stop getting better. And that means it will eventually replace every human job on the
Yeah.
planet. We, the entertainment industry, happen to be the canary in the coal mine. We are an industry of fiction. We are an industry of content,
Yeah,
which is all
we're
put
all-
together anyway.
that was
fictitious,
it.
Right?
That's all there is.
Artificially. So now
It's
that-
already artificial.
Yeah, and now that Unreal Engine, NVIDIA graphics engine, Unreal Engine, is we're at photorealism in what graphics can do in video games and everything. So the lines are all going to blur. They're already blurring so much. By the way, I highly recommend we all move into the rest of the future together, recognizing that the things that you are going to see and hear on the news and on the internet are not necessarily true. And I this is not me looking at everything that's going on in the news right now and saying that's all bullshit and lies. I'm just saying we all need to be very cognizant that we have to question these things. You have to take everything with a grain of salt, because reality and fiction are now thoroughly blended, and they're only going to become more blended. And the more that Meta and Apple and all, we're all throwing headsets on, and the whole metaverse is going to start looking more photorealistic, and that means more and more people are going to go start slipping into this matrix. And
Yeah.
that is all going to start looking like exactly the real world, which means once you come out of it with everyone, I mean, we could literally have avatar. Right now, you have an avatar. It looks like an avatar almost, right? But I don't know if anybody's seen this, but Mark Zuckerberg and others have already scanned their bodies. It's like them in there. It's photorealism right now, which means also, if I wanted to, I could scan me and I could be me in there, or I could decide to use somebody else's body scan entirely, and just that's my avatar. I'm walking around like you. It looks like Jim Cummings walking around, but it actually sounds like me because it's me with the headset on.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen is
Yeah.
that we're going to come out of this, and also even when you come out of the meta or out of the metaverse, you're still looking through your devices. We're all going to have like, kind of like AR heads-up display glasses, or our phones are all going to be tapped into this stuff. Like, guys, it's here. It's right now. It's right now. It's not. I know it sounds crazy, but
It doesn't.
we are, well, maybe not to you guys, but I mean, to a lot of people I talk to, they're like,
yeah, no,
calm
it
down,
does.
calm down. I'm like, no, this is not the time to calm down.
This is not a time to be
Skynet
calm.
is a hop, skip, and a jump away. We are at, like we were talking about before, we are at this inflection point right now where it's insane to say, but that we have to decidedly, as a collective consciousness, as humanity, we have to decide if we are going to either purchase and support products and services provided by actual humans, or by robots with AI in them, or computers with AI. Sometimes it's not even going to require a robot. Sometimes it's all just within computer,
that's right.
Other jobs, because people say, well, maybe you can go make a song with a computer, but like, who's going to go deliver that pizza or those UPS boxes? Guess what, guys? It's already starting to happen. You see those little carts that go around
they're
delivering
already
food?
going. Yeah,
That's just going to get better and better and better. Go look at Boston Dynamics. Go to Boston Dynamics website. Their most recent, which is about almost a year ago now, maybe 6, 7, 8 months, I don't know. Their most recent display of their technology, of what their robot can do, is so insane. It's so cool, but think about it in the less cool way, which is, oh my God, this is what they can do. Also, we're seeing what they want us to see, not necessarily Boston Dynamics, but they work with DARPA. They work with the government, guys. The government probably has levels of all this technology that's already above what we are aware of and what's going on.
Oh,
so
without question.
just know we're there. It's not the singularity yet. We're not at fully sentient AI.
right.
God forbid we ever actually get to that place, because that's super scary. That's what like all these 6 of 10 of the top
Till they're-
minds in the world about
yeah.
AI are all saying, if we're not careful in
Once
10
they
years,
become
actually it will
aware-
destroy all of humanity,
yeah,
right?
if they become aware.
And that's the Skynet thing. That's the whole
Yeah,
deal.
it is.
So like, barring that though, barring us all actually being eliminated, literally physically killed or whatever, it will destroy all of our jobs, because corporations will do it, because they're all about margins and bottom lines, and like, well, money's money, guys. Sorry, blah, blah, blah. If we can replace you, we will. And they will, because human beings are a pain in the ass. We need to have piss breaks and eat food and actually get paid. They don't want to do any of those things. I mean, look at Amazon warehouses. They're barely paying their actual live employees, and they're not giving them breaks. They're not doing those. And now they're starting to replace them all with automation. It's happening now. So we have to choose. We have to choose as a people around the world in every industry. We have to say, I will either, because here's the thing. If we don't all do it, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
If all of a sudden
I
right
agree with
now,
that.
if everybody right now says, listen, like Hollywood's at it good, actors made a lot of money. Like, if I can go have AI produced video games and voiceover and cartoons and movies and TV and music and everything, and it costs me a fraction, because by the way, it will. A full human-made movie will cost you $20, and the studios will prompt an AI movie that will look amazing, and they'll charge you $5. And by the way, you'll get your face and voice scanned into it, and you get to be the fucking star of the movie. Who doesn't want to go do that shit? And that's where they're going to get us. So that's where they're going to try and divide us. We have to. We can't
give in.
You can't give in. We can't give in to that temptation. That apple. You do not. We can't, because if you do, we're all out of work, which means we don't make money, which means we can't support your fucking business.
That's right.
We can't buy your goods. We can't go to your restaurant and you eat your food while you're a
it's
server.
a finite
or whatever.
number of people that they can use.
Yes,
There will be
yes.
no future fodder.
No.
so to speak.
No. So wow, that all took a very big turn, but I feel like it's a good thing. It's a good thing to kind of wrap it all up on, because guys, we got to do it.
No,
We got to do
you're
it. We
100%
have
right.
got to stay the course. If we literally, it's a larger version of the strike we just ended.
Yeah.
We have to, as humanity, strike against. I can't believe I'm saying this right now.
I
Strike
just ended.
against robots and against AI. We have to do it. If AI,
I couldn't
I
agree
don't.
more.
I don't have a problem with AI being a tool in a human's toolbox.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
If
that's
it's
right.
replacing humans, we have to be very careful about how many humans it's displacing. It will displace humans. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
But listen, we're at the precipice of one single human, some kid sitting in his living room with a computer and super powerful AI that can just prompt anything they want to be created, a movie, right? A movie.
Right.
I want this movie, boom, and it's amazing. Now, what we're going to do is, and we're all going to be tempted into this, and we're also going to be conditioned into this by the powers that be, I believe. They're going to say, isn't that amazing? Isn't it amazing that this kid who had no access to anything and no ability to be educated
talent
or whatever, no talent or whatever,
no fucking reason to be
whatever,
doing it.
but his imagination and how cool it is, and they could create whatever they want. What an amazing world this is. And you go, cool, in a vacuum. But that movie that kid just created replaced thousands of jobs, hundreds at least. But in the multitudes, every one of those that's made is another hundreds.
So where
and
the hell
hundreds
is
of
the
jobs.
progress? Where's the progress?
Right.
There is none.
Well, no, the progress is all going to be digital. The
Well,
progress,
I know,
is,
but
and the
but
money
I mean,
will all go to
for all
the people
that
hold
were sitting at home.
No. But again, we have to do it together. We have to choose to go eat at restaurants that have real servers and not robots. I'm seriously.
God.
This is all the future. 3 years from now,
I
5 years
agree.
from now, 10 years from now, if there even is still a world to protect, this is the choice. These are the choices we have to make.
I remember the first time I was in a restaurant where I said, "Can I order anything?" And it was a lady who looked like she worked there as a
waiter or
server,
hostess,
a
right?
waiter. Yeah, and I said, "Well, yeah. Oh no, I have to download something." But you're right here.
Yeah, the app.
Yeah.
You're
Oh, God.
you're there.
Yeah.
I'm talking with you.
Well, but true. But and this isn't just because I've been trying to develop an app that kind of has something to do with that, but you need a
here
menu.
we go.
Listen, I don't mind. I've been thinking this was going to happen for a long time. A QR code with a thing on your
Yeah.
phone. Now you always have they don't have to print more menus. It's good for the environment. They can change it whenever they need to. I mean, whatever. I don't know. I don't mind doing that.
I hate the environment.
Burn it to the ground.
Okay,
You heard it right here, folks. Winnie the Pooh hates the environment.
I it's gonna be there anyway.
Yeah. Burn the 100-acre woods to the
Oh
ground.
God. Okay, I made that up.
Before we finish, though, you promised us one more story about Sweden and Midsummer.
Oh, listen. Midsummer, which is this incredible, time of celebration and festival and whatnot in the Scandinavian countries. I got to go to Sweden this last summer and celebrated with a bunch of wonderful friends. And it's such a cool time. The festivities are all great. By the way, the city of Stockholm is awesome. The Swedes are excellent people, just genuinely.
Do they have a syndrome?
What's that?
Do they have a syndrome?
Not that I could tell,
okay.
but I'll check into that. And we went to this place called Gotland, which actually used to be like not just the capital of Sweden, but like the capital of the entire kind of Viking empire, really. And all really beautiful stuff.
Was this Asgard?
It's very Asgardian,
Okay.
very much. But it's so fun because the farther north you go, the deeper your light in your seasons. Either it ebbs and flows, and so in the dead of winter in those Norse Scandinavian countries, they're pretty darn far north, which means their winters are long and dark and they're harsh, which is why they even, I'm sure, created this thing called Midsummer, which is like, oh my God, we're getting as much possible sun as we can, and all of that vitamin D and all of the fertility of it all, seriously, and all of it. And so they go ham. Like, it's a really wonderful time. And also, though the sun dips below the horizon, the sky still stays kind of blue. It doesn't ever really get black. So your mind is telling you, let's go. You can just kind of keep rolling with it.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So highly recommend Midsummer if anybody ever gets the opportunity.
That's really
Not like the movie with Florence Pugh, which was a fantastic movie, but that was not my experience. Thank God. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you for joining us.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Zachary Levi.